been talking all week about your sermon last Sunday. It's really wonderful, Dr. Harper. In only 2 short years, you've taken on the spirit of Brooklyn.
That's very gratifying, Miss Brewster.
You see, living here next to the church all our lives, we've seen so many ministers come and go. The spirit of Brooklyn, we always say, is friendliness. And your sermons are not just sermons. They're more like friendly talks.
Well, personally, I've always enjoyed my talks with Cardinal Gibbons. Or have I met him yet?
No, dear, not yet. The biscuit's good.
Oh, bully.
Oh, won't you have another biscuit, Dr.
Oh,
Harper?
no, thank you. I won't have an appetite for dinner now. I seem to always eat too many of your biscuits just for the taste of that lovely jam.
But you haven't tried the quince. We always put a little apple in with it to take the top. Is that?
Oh, no, thank you.
We'll send you over a jar.
Oh, no, let's leave it here so I'll be sure and have some with your biscuits.
I do hope they don't make us use that imitation flour again. I mean, with this war trouble. It may not be very charitable of me, but I've almost come to the conclusion that this Mr. Hitler isn't a Christian.
Only Europe. We're on another planet.
Yes, sir.
Why, yes, Teddy.
Point your gun the other way.
Gun?
Teddy.
To the west. There's your enemy. There's your danger. Japan.
Yes, indeed.
Teddy.
No, Aunt Abby. Not so much talk about Europe and more about the canal.
Well, let's not talk about war. Will you have another cup of tea, dear?
No, thank you.
Dr. Harper.
No, thank you. Miss Abby, I must admit that war and violence seem far removed from these surroundings.
Oh, it is peaceful here, isn't it?
Yes, peaceful. The virtues of another day are all here in this house. Virtues that have gone out with candlelight and good manners and low taxes.
It's one of the oldest houses in Brooklyn. It's just as it was when Grandfather Brewster built and furnished it, except for the electricity, and we use it as little as possible. It was Mortimer who persuaded us to put it in.
Oh, I can understand. Your nephew Mortimer seems to live only by electric light.
Oh, the poor boy has to work so late. I understand he's taking Elaine with him to the theater again tonight. Teddy, your brother Mortimer will be here a little later.
Oh, delighting.
We're so happy it's Elaine that Mortimer takes to the theater with him.
Well, it's a new experience for me, waiting up until 3 o'clock in the morning for my daughter to be brought home.
Oh, Dr. Harper, I do hope you don't disapprove of Mortimer.
Well...
Oh, we'd feel so guilty if you did, Sister Martha and I. I mean, since it was here in our home that your daughter met Mortimer.
Well, yes, and I must say immediately that I believe Mortimer to be quite the worthy gentleman. But I must also say that I've been watching their growing infatuation with some trepidation, and for one reason.
You mean his stomach, Dr. Harper?
Stomach?
His dyspepsia. He's bothered with it so.
No, Miss Abby. Frankly, I'm speaking of your nephew's unfortunate connection with the theater.
A theater? Oh, no, Dr. Harper. Mortimer writes for a New York newspaper.
Oh, I know, but as drama critic, he's so exposed to the theater, and I can't help but think that there are those who become quite interested in it.
Well, not Mortimer. You need have no fear of that. Why, Mortimer hates the theater.
Really?
Oh, yes. He writes awful things about it. But you can't blame him, poor boy. He was so happy writing about real estate, which he really knew something about. And then they just made him take this terrible night position.
My.
But, as he says, the theater can't last much longer anyway. And in the meantime, it's a living. Oh, yes. I think if we give the theater another year or 2, perhaps. Well, now, who just knows that is? No, thank you, Teddy, dear. I'll go. Oh, hello, Officer Crosby.
Hello, Miss Brewster.
How are you, Officer Fly?
Oh, very well, Miss Brewster.
At ease.
You know, Dr. Hart.
Oh, yeah! Hey, Dr. Harper. We've come for the toys. Oh, we've come for the toys for the Christmas fund.
Oh, yes.
Splendid work, you gentlemen do. Picking up old toys so that poor children can have a happier Christmas.
Nah, it's really nothing. It gives you something to do when we're sitting around the station. You get tired of playing cards and you start cleaning your gun and before you know it, bang, you shut yourself in the foot. Teddy dear, go upstairs and get that big box from your Aunt Martha's room. How is Mr. Brophy today? Mr. Brophy has been quite ill, Dr. Harper.
Pneumonia.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
John!
He's doing much better now, a little weak still.
Oh, well, I'm going to get you some beef broth to take to him.
Oh, don't bother, Miss Abby. You've done so much for him already.
Oh, well, we made it this morning. Sister Martha is taking some now to poor Mr. Benitsky. It won't be a minute. Sit down, Dr. Harper, and be comfortable.
She shouldn't go to so much trouble.
Yeah, trying to stop her. Sit up from doing something nice and for nothing. They don't even care how you vote.
When I first received my call to Brooklyn and moved next door, my wife wasn't well. After she died, and for months before, well, if it weren't for their pure kindness and absolute generosity, well, I know it all because of the Brewster sisters.
Colonel, you promised not to do that.
But I have to call a cabinet meeting to get the release of those supplies.
We used to do that in the middle of the night. The neighbors raised Cain with us. But they're a little afraid of him anyway.
Oh, he's quite harmless.
Yeah, well, so what if you get Teddy Roosevelt? There could be a lot worse people he could be. He was.
It's a damn shame. A nice family like that hatching a cuckoo.
Teddy's father, the old girl's brother, he was some sort of genius, wasn't he? And their father, Teddy's grandfather, seems to me, I remember hearing he was a little, crazy too.
Yeah, crazy like a fox. He made $1 million.
Really? Here in Brooklyn?
Yeah, found medicine. He was a kind of quack of some sort. Old Sergeant Edwards remembers him. He used his house as a sort of clinic. Tried him out on people.
Yeah, made mistakes occasionally too.
Yeah, the department never bothered him much. He was pretty useful on autopsy cases, especially poison cases.
Yeah, well, whatever he did, he left his daughter fixed for life. Thank God for that.
Not that they ever spent any of it on themselves.
I'm well aware of their charities.
Nah, you don't even know the tenth of it. You know, when I was working for the Missing Persons Bureau, we were looking for some little guy that we never did find. But did you know that there's a renting agency that's got this house down on its list of furnished rooms? They don't rent rooms here. But you can bet that anybody who comes here looking for a room goes home with a good meal and a few extra dollars in that kick.
It's just their way of digging up people to do some good to.
Well, now, isn't this nice?
Good afternoon, Miss Brewster.
How do you do, Uncle Brophy? Dr. Harper, I'm fine.
Hey there, Miss Brewster. We're here for the Christmas toys.
Oh, yes, Teddy's Army and Navy. They were out. They're all packed.
The colonel's gone upstairs after them. It seems the cabinet has to okay it.
Of course. I do hope Mr. Brophy's better.
She's doing much better, ma'am. Your sister's gone to get some soup for me to take to him.
Oh, yes, we made it this morning. I just took some to a poor man who broke ever so many bones. Oh, Martha, you're back. How was Mr. Benitsky? Well, dear, it's pretty serious, I'm afraid. The doctor was there. They're going to amputate in the morning. Can we be present? Well, no, I did ask, but he said it's against the rules of the hospital.
Oh, well, you could be of no service, and you must spare yourself something.
Here's the broth, and be sure it's good and hot.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, these are gonna do just fine. Oh, these are gonna make a lot of kids happy. Oh, that O'Malley boy sure is nuts about soldiers.
That's General Miles. I've retired him. What's this? The Oregon? The Oregon, I promised the Oregon to Australia.
And now Teddy.
No, I promised to Fighting Bob Evans.
But Teddy.
Yeah, well, what does it matter which kid can't say Bobby Evans? Is he Cohen? Well, be running out long lemons. Thank you very much.
Not at all. Good night.
I best be running along as well.
Oh, before you go, Dr. Harper.
Turn! Turn, Tabaka!
The blockhouse.
The stairs are always San Juan Hill.
Have you ever tried to persuade him that he isn't Teddy Roosevelt?
Oh, no. He's so happy being Teddy Roosevelt. Once, a long time ago, remember, Martha, we thought that he would be George Washington. It might be a change for him. But he just stayed under the bed for days and wouldn't be anybody. And we'd so much he'd rather be Mr. Roosevelt than nobody.
Well, as long as he's happy, and more importantly, as long as you're happy. So, you'll go and sign these.
What about him? Oh, Dr. Harper has made all arrangements for Teddy to go to Happydale Sanitarium after we pass on. Then why should Teddy sign any papers now?
It's best to have it all settled now, just in case the Lord were to come and take you suddenly. Well, we might not be able to persuade Teddy to commit himself. Mr. Witherspoon has understood that we will file these papers away until such time as we need them.
Mr. Witherspoon, who is he?
He's the director of Happydale.
Oh, Dr. Harper has arranged for him to drop in tomorrow or next day to meet Teddy.
Oh, so I better be running along, or Elaine will come looking for me.
Oh, well, give our love to Elaine. And Dr. Harper, please don't think harshly of Mortimer because he's a dramatic critic. Somebody has to do those things. Did you just have tea? Isn't it rather late? Yes, and dinner's going to be late too. Oh, why? Teddy, good news for you. You're going to Panama and dig another lot for the canal.
Oh, bully! I shall prepare at once for the journey. Turn!
Oh, Abby, while I was out, oh, yes, dear, I just couldn't wait for you. I didn't know when you'd be back, and Dr. Harper was coming. But all by yourself? Well, I got along fine. Well, then I'll just run right downstairs and see you. No, dear, there was a time, and I was all alone. Well, Martha, just look and see what's in that window seat. Oh, who could this be? Oh, it's Elaine.
Good afternoon, Miss Abby. Good afternoon, Miss Martha. I thought Father was here.
Well, he just as well as left here, didn't you, Miss?
Oh, no, I took a shortcut through the cemetery. Mortimer hasn't come yet?
No, dear.
No? Well, he asked me to wait for him here. Do you mind if I wait?
Not at all. Oh, please sit down, dear. You know, we're going to have to talk to Mortimer about doing this to you.
Well, doing what?
Well, he was brought up better than that. When a gentleman is taking a young lady out, he should call for her at first.
Oh, there's something about calling for a girl at a parsonage that discourages any man who doesn't embroider.
Well, he's done this too often. We're going to speak to him.
Oh, please don't. After young men whose idea of nightlife was to take me to prayer meeting, it's absolutely wonderful to go to the theater almost every night of my life.
Well, dear, it's a comfort to us, too, because if Mortimer has to see some of those plays he has to see, at least he's sitting next to a minister's daughter. Oh, Elaine, what must you think of us? Not having tea cleared away by this time? Now, don't do anything in the kitchen until Mortimer comes. Mortimer should be here any minute.
Yes, and Father must have been surprised not to find me at home. I better run and speak to him.
It's a shame you missed him, dear.
If Mortimer comes while I'm away, you just tell him I'll be right back. Oh, but hello, Mort.
Hello, Elaine. Hello, Aunt Martha.
Oh, Abby, Mortimer's here.
Were you going somewhere?
I was just telling Father that I wasn't not to wait up for me tonight.
I didn't know that was still being done even in Brooklyn.
Oh, hello, Fatima.
Hello, Aunt.
How are you, dear?
All right, you look well. You haven't changed much since yesterday.
My gosh, yesterday. Well, we are seeing a great deal of you lately. Well, come, sit down. Abby, haven't we things to do in the kitchen? You know the tea thing? Oh, yes, the tea things. Oh, the
yet?
No, that was pretty obvious. A lack of inventiveness, I would say.
Oh, yes, that's exactly what you'd say.
Where do you want to go for dinner?
Oh, I don't care. I'm not that hungry tonight.
Well, I just had breakfast. Suppose we wait till after the show.
Well, won't that make it pretty late, Mom?
Not with the little stinker we're seeing tonight. From what I've heard about it, will be a Blaze fight, 10 o'clock.
You ought to be fair to these plays.
Are these plays fair to me?
I've never seen you walk out on a musical.
That musical isn't opening tonight.
Oh?
Darling, you'll have to learn the rules. With a musical, there are always 4 changes of title and 3 postponements. They liked it in New Haven, but it needs a lot of work.
I was hoping it was a musical.
You have such a light mind.
Not a bit. Musicals tend to have a humanizing effect on you. After a serious play, we join the proletariat on the subway, and I listen to a lecture on the drama. After a musical, you bring me home in a taxi, and you make a few passes.
Now, wait a minute, darling. That's a very inaccurate piece of reporting.
Oh, I will admit that after the Vernon play, you told me I had authentic beauty. And that's a hell of a thing to say to a girl. It wasn't until after our first musical that you told me I had nice legs. And I have, too.
For a minister's daughter, you know a lot about life. Where'd you learn it?
Oh, in the choir loft.
I'll explain that to you sometime, darling. The close connection between eroticism and religion.
Oh, religion never gets as high as the choir loft. Which reminds me, I better go tell Father not to wait up for me tonight.
I've never been able to rationalize it.
What?
My falling in love with a girl who lives in Brooklyn.
Falling in love? You're not stooping to the articulate, are you?
The only way I can regain my self-respect is to keep you in New York.
Did you say keep?
No.
Oh.
I've come to the conclusion that you're holding out for the
Oh,
legality.
I can afford to be a good girl for quite a few years, yes.
And I can't wait that long. Where can we be married in a hurry, say, tonight?
Oh, no, I think Father will insist on officiating.
Oh, God. I bet your father could make even the marriage service sound pedestrian.
You're not by any chance writing a review of it.
Forgive me, darling. It's an occupational disease. I may give that play tonight a good notice.
Now, darling, don't pretend you love me that much.
Be sure to tell your father not to wait up.
Oh, I think I better tell him to wait up.
I'll telephone Winchell to publish the bands.
Nevertheless.
All right. Everything formal and legal. But not later than next month.
Oh, darling! I'll speak to Father and we'll set a date.
No, we'll have to see what's in rehearsal first. There'll be a lot of other first nights in October.
Mortimer! Hello!
How are you, Mr. President?
Bully, just bully. What news have you brought me?
Just this, Mr. President. The country is squarely behind you.
Yes, I know. Isn't it wonderful? Well, goodbye. Good night.
Where you off to, Teddy?
Panama.
Panama's the cellar. He takes locks for the canal down there.
You're so sweet with him, and he's awfully fond of you.
Well, Teddy was always my favorite brother.
Favorite? Were there more of you?
There's another brother, John.
I've never heard of him. Your aunt's never mentioned him.
No, we don't like to talk about Jonathan. He left Brooklyn very early, by request. Jonathan was the kind of boy who liked to cut worms in two with his teeth.
Well, what became of him?
I don't know. He wanted to be a surgeon like grandfather, but he wouldn't go to medical school first, and his practice got him into trouble.
Oh, aren't you two going to be late for the theater?
We're skipping dinner. We won't have to start for half an hour.
Oh, well, I'll leave the two of you alone together again.
Don't bother, darling. I need to run over and speak to Father. Whenever I go out with you, he likes to pray over me a little. I'll be right back. I'll cut over in the cemetery.
If the prayer isn't too long, I'd have time to lead you beside distilled waters.
Oh, Mortimer, that's the first time I ever heard you quote the Bible. We knew Elaine would be a good influence for you.
By the way, I'm going to marry her.
Oh, darling! Oh, Martha, you come right in here. I've got the most wonderful news for you. Mortimer and Elaine are going to be married. Married? Yes. Oh, Mortimer, we hoped it would happen just like this. Oh, Elaine must be the happiest girl in the world.
Happy. Just look at her leaning over those gravestones. Say, what's that?
What's what, dear?
See that statue there? That's a horn de la Carnina.
Oh, no. That's just Emma being stout. Ascending to heaven.
No, standing on Mrs. Stout's left ear, that bird. That's a red-crested swallow. I've only seen one of those before in my life.
Oh, Mortimer, I don't know how you can be thinking about a bird now. What with the Elaine and the engagement and everything.
It's a vanishing species. Thoreau was very fond of them. By the way, I left a large envelope around here last week. It was one of the chapters of my book on Thoreau. Have you seen it?
Well, if you left it here, it must be around here somewhere. When are you going to be married? What are your plans? There must be something more you can tell us about Elaine.
Elaine thought it was brilliant.
What was it?
My chapter on Thoreau.
Well, when Elaine comes back, I think we should have a little celebration. We should celebrate your happiness. Oh, Martha, isn't there some of that Lady Baltimore cake left? Oh, yes. And I'll open a bottle of wine. And to think that it happened in this room.
Now, where can I put that?
Well, with your fiancé sitting beside you tonight, I do hope the play will be something you can enjoy for once. It may be something romantic. What's the name of it?
Murder will out!
Oh, dear.
When the curtain goes up, the first thing you'll see will be a dead body. Aunt Abby, you were going to make plans for Teddy to go to that sanitarium.
Oh, yes.
Happydale?
Yes, dear. It's all arranged. Dr. Harper was here today. He brought the papers for Teddy to sign. Here they are.
He's got to sign them right away.
That's what Dr. Harper thinks. Then there won't be any legal difficulties after we pass on.
He's got to sign them this minute. He's down in the cellar. Get him up here right away.
No such hurry as that. Remember when Teddy starts working on the canal, he can't get his mind on anything else.
Teddy's got to go to Happydale now, tonight.
No, dear, that's not until after we're gone.
Right away, I tell you, right away.
Well, how can you say such a thing? Why, as long as we live, we'll never be separated from Teddy.
Darlings, I'm frightfully sorry, but I've got some rather shocking news. Now, we've all got to try to keep our heads. You know, we've always sort of humored Teddy because we thought he was harmless.
Well, he is harmless.
He was harmless. That's why he's got to go to Happydale, why he's got to be confined.
Oh, Mortimer, why did you suddenly turn against Teddy, your own brother?
You've got to know sometime. Might as well be now. Teddy's killed a man.
Oh, nonsense, dear.
There's a body in the window seat.
Yes, dear, we know.
You know?
Well, of course, but it has nothing to do with Teddy. Mortimer, just forget about it. Forget about sorry gentleman.
Forget?
Strange, you peak.
Who is he?
His name is Hoskins, Adam Hoskins. That's all I really know about him, except that he's a Methodist.
That's all you know, but how did he get here? What happened to him?
He died.
My dear Aunt Martha, men don't just climb into window seats and die.
No, he died first.
Well, how?
Oh, Mortimer, don't be so inquisitive. The gentleman died because he drank some wine with poison in it.
How did the poison get in the wine?
Well, we put the poison in the wine because it's less noticeable. When you put it in tea, it has a distinct odor.
You put the poison in the wine.
Yes, and I put Mr. Hoskins in the window seat because Dr. Harper was coming.
So you knew what you'd done. You didn't want Dr. Harper to see the body.
Well, not in tea. That would have been very nice. Now, Mortimer, just forget the whole thing now that you know about it. I just think Martha and I have a right to our own little secret. And don't you tell Elaine. Oh, Abby, while I was out, I stopped by Mrs. Schultz's. She's much better, but she'd like for us to take Junior to the movies again. Oh, let's do that tomorrow, next day. But this time, we'll go where we want to go. Junior's not dragging me to another one of those scary pictures. Ah, those are horrible. Watch those things.
Hello, city desk. Hello, Al. Do you know who this is? That's right. Say, Al, when I left the office, I told you where I was going. Remember? Where did I say? Well, it would take me about a half an hour to get to Brooklyn. What time have you got? That's right. I must be here. Aunt Abby, Aunt Martha, come in here.
Yes, dear.
What are we going to do? What are we going to do?
What are we going to do about what, dear?
There's a body in there.
Yes, dear, we know.
Good heavens, I can't turn you over to the police, but what are we going to do?
Well, for one thing, you can stop getting so excited. And for heaven's sake, stop worrying. We told you to forget the whole thing.
Forget. My dear Aunt Abby, can I make you realize that something's got to be done?
Now, Mortimer, you behave yourself. You are too old to be flying off the handle like this.
But Mr. Hotchkiss.
Hoskins, dear.
Well, whatever his name is, you can't just leave him there.
Oh, I don't intend to, dear. No, Tech's down in the cellar now, digging the lock.
You mean you're going to bury Mr. Hoskins in the cellar?
Why, yes, dear. That's what we did with the others.
No, you can't bury Mr. Others?
The other gentlemen.
When you say others, do you mean others? More than one others?
Why, yes, let's see. I think there are 11. Isn't that right? No, dear. This makes 12. No, dear. I think you are wrong. I think it's only 11. Oh, no. It's 12 because I remember when Mr. Hoskins first came in, it occurred to me that he would make just an even dozen. Well, I don't think we can really count the first one. Well, I was counting the first one, so that makes it 12. Well,
Hello? Oh. Hello? Oh, well, it's good to hear your voice.
well, anyway, they're all down in the cellar.
No, well, I'm as sober as a lark. I just called you because I was feeling a little Pirandello. You wouldn't know. Look, Al, I'm glad you called. Get a hold of George. He's got to review that play tonight. I can't make it. No, Al, you're wrong. I'll tell you about it tomorrow. Well, George has got to review that play tonight. It's my department, and I'm running it. You get a hold of George. Now, where were we? 12!
Abby thinks we should count the first one, and that makes 12. Oh, we're always such a gentleman. Thank you, dear.
Now, who was the first one?
Mr. Midgley, he was a Baptist. But I still don't like to now because he just died. Oh, Martha means without any help from us. You see, Mr. Midgley came here looking for a room. It was right after you moved to New York. And it didn't seem right for that lovely room to be going to waste when there were so many people who needed it. He was such a lonely old man. Oh, his kith and kin were dead, and it left him so unhappy and lonely. I felt so sorry for him. And then, when his heart attack came, and he sat dead in that chair, looking so peaceful, remember, Martha, we made up our mind then and there, if we could help other lonely old men to that same peace, we would.
He dropped dead right in his chair. Awful for you.
Oh, well, not really, dear. You know, it was really a little like old times. Grandfather always used to have a cadaver or two around the house. And you see, Teddy was digging in Panama, and he thought Mr. Midgley was a yellow fever victim. Oh, that meant he had to be buried immediately. So we all took him down to Panama and put him in the lock. Now that you know all of that, you know why we say we can take care of everything. We know what's just to be done.
And that's how this all started, that man walking in here and dropping dead.
Yes. Of course, we realized we couldn't depend on that happening again. So do you remember all those jars of poison that were up on the shelves in Grandmother's laboratory all those years? And you know your Aunt Martha's knack for mixing things. You've eaten enough of her pickle, Lily. Well, for a gallon of elderberry wine, I take 1 teaspoonful of arsenic. Then I add 1/2 teaspoonful of strychnine, and then just a pinch of cyanide.
Should have quite a kick.
Yes. As a matter of fact, one of our gentlemen found time to say, "How delicious." Oh, yes. Well, I guess I better get started on dinner. I wish you could stay for dinner. I'm trying out a new recipe.
I couldn't eat a thing.
I'll be in to help you, dear. Oh, I feel so much better now. Oh, you have to wait for Elaine, don't you? How happy you must be. Well, dear, I'll just leave you alone with your thoughts. Here comes the bride.
Oh, it's you.
Don't be upset, darling. Father could see I was excited, so I told him all about us, and that made it hard for me to get away. But listen, darling, he's not going to wait up for me tonight.
You run along home, Elaine. I'll call you up tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
You know, I always call you up every day or two.
But we're going to the theater tonight.
No, we're not.
Well, why not?
Elaine, something's come up.
What, darling? Mortimer, you've lost your job.
No, I haven't lost my job. I'm just not covering that play tonight. You run along home, Elaine.
I've got to know what's going on. Certainly you can tell me.
No, dear, I can't.
Well, but if we're to be married...
Married?
Have you forgotten 15 minutes ago you proposed to me?
I did? Oh, yes, well, as far as I know, that's still on. Now, you run along home, Elaine. I think I can do something.
Listen, you can't propose to me 1 minute and then throw me out of the house the next.
I'm not throwing you out of the house. Will you get out of here?
No, I won't get out of here. Not until I've had some kind of explanation.
Elaine! Hello? Oh, hello. Hold on a minute, will you? All right, it's important, but it can wait a minute, can it? Hold on. Look, Elaine, you're a sweet girl, and I love you, but I've got something on my mind right now, and I want you to go home and wait for me to call you.
Don't try to be masterful.
When we're married and I have problems to face, I hope you're less tedious and uninspired.
And when we're married, if we're married, I hope I find you adequate.
Elaine! Elaine! Oh. Hello? Hello, Al? Hello? Hello?
That's the doorbell, dear, not the telephone. Oh, won't you come in?
I understand you have a rooster yet?
Yes. Won't you step in?
Are you the lady of the house?
Yes, I'm Miss Brewster, and this is my sister, another Miss Brewster.
My name is Jimmy.
Yes. Won't you sit down? Oh, I'm sorry, we were just setting the table for dinner.
Hello? Let me talk to Al again. City desk. Al! City desk! What? Oh, I'm sorry, wrong number.
May I see the room?
Well, why don't you sit down for a minute and let's just get acquainted.
Well, that won't be much good if I don't like the room.
Is Brooklyn your home?
I don't have a home. I live in a hotel. I don't like it.
Hello? City desk.
Are your family Brooklyn people?
I don't have any family.
All alone?
Yes.
Well, hello, Martha. You have come to just the right house. Do sit down.
Hello, Al? Mort, we got cut off. Look, Al, I can't cover that play tonight. That's all there is to it. I can't.
What church do you belong to? There's an Episcopal church practically next door.
I'm Presbyterian. Used to be.
What's George doing in Bermuda? Certainly I told him he could go to Bermuda. It's my department, isn't it? Well, you've got to find somebody. Who else is there around the office?
Is that always this much noise?
No, he doesn't live with us.
Look, now how about the office boy? You know, the bright one. The one we don't like? Well, you look around the office. I'll hold on.
I'd really like to see the room.
Oh, it's upstairs. Won't you try a glass of our wine before we step up?
Oh, never touch it.
This is elderberry wine. We make it ourselves.
Elderberry wine. Mmm. I haven't had elderberry wine since I was a boy. Thank you.
There must be some printers around the place. Look, Al, the guy who sends my copy, he ought to know about what I write. His name's Joe. He's the third machine from the left. But Al, he might turn out to be the next Burns Mantle.
Do you have no elderberry booze?
No, but the cemetery is full of them.
No, I am not drinking. I'm going to start now.
Do you serve you?
We might, but first just see whether you like our wine. Mortimer,
No! Go! Go our way! Don't come back! Keep going! No, stop!
Now you've spoiled everything.
You can't do that! I don't know how to explain it to you, but it's not only against the law, it's wrong. It's not a nice thing to do. People wouldn't understand. He wouldn't understand.
Abby, we shouldn't have told Mortimer.
What I mean is, well, this has developed into a very bad habit.
Mortimer, we don't try to stop you from doing things you like to do. I don't see why you should interfere with us.
Hello? All right, I'll see the first act and I'll pan it, but Al, you gotta do something for me. Get a hold of O'Brien, our lawyer, head of our legal department. Have him meet me at the theater. All right, now don't let me down. I'm starting now. I've got to go to the theater tonight. I can't get out of it. But before I go, will you promise me something?
Well, it would depend on what it was.
I love you both very much, and I know you love me. You know I'd do anything in the world for you. I just want you to do this little thing for me.
What do you want us to do?
Don't do anything. I mean, don't do anything. Don't let anyone in this house, and leave Mr. Hoskins right where he is.
Why?
I need time to think. I've got quite a little to think about. You know, I wouldn't want anything to happen to you.
What on earth could happen to us?
Well, anyway, you'll do this for me, won't you?
Well, we were planning on holding services before dinner.
Services.
What? You wouldn't expect us to bury a good Methodist like Mr. Hoskins without a full Methodist service. Why, he was a Methodist.
But couldn't that wait until I got back?
Oh, then you could join us.
Yes.
Oh, Mortimer, you'll enjoy the services, especially the hymns. Remember how beautifully Mortimer used to sing in the choir before his voice changed?
And remember, you're not going to let anyone in this house until I get back. It's a promise.
Well, I think we can do that now that Mortimer's cooperating with us. Well, all right, Mortimer.
Have you got some paper? I'll be back as fast as I can. There's a man I've got to see.
Oh, why, that's the stationery. Will this do?
That'll be fine. I can save time if I write my review on the way to the theater.
Mortimer didn't seem quite himself today. Well, that's understandable. I think I know why. Why? Well, he's just become engaged to be married. Well, I'm so I suppose that always makes a man nervous. Yes. You know, I hope that their honeymoon gives them a chance to have a real vacation. I don't think Mortimer got much rest this summer. Well, at least he didn't go kiting off to China or Spain. I never understand why he wanted to go to those places. Well, you know, Martha, I think to Mortimer, the theater has always seemed pretty small potatoes. He needs something big to criticize. Something like the human race.
Well, Mortimer's coming back to go to our services for Mr. Hoskins. We'll need another hymnal. There's one up in my room.
Oh, Martha, you know, it's really my turn to read the services, but
not at home.
Come in, Doctor. This is the home of my youth. As a boy, I couldn't wait to escape this place. Now I'm glad to escape back into it.
Yeah, this will make a fine hideout.
The family must still live here. There's something so unmistakably Brewster about the Brewsters. I hope there's a fatted calf awaiting the return of the
Look,
father.
Johnny, there are drinks here.
As though we were expected.
Oh,
A good omen.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Why, it's Abby, Aunt Martha. It's Jonathan.
You just get out of here.
But I'm Jonathan, your nephew,
No,
Jonathan.
you're not, Jonathan. You're nothing like Jonathan, so don't pretend you are. So just get out of here.
But I am Jonathan, and this is Dr. Einstein.
He's not Dr. Einstein either.
Not Dr. Albert Einstein. Dr. Herman Einstein.
Who are you? You're not our nephew, Jonathan.
I see you're still wearing the lovely garnet ring that Grandma Brewster bought in England. And you, Aunt Martha, still hiding the scar where Grandfather's acid burned you.
His voice is like Jonathan's.
Have you been in an accident?
No, my face. Dr. Einstein is responsible for that. He's a plastic surgeon. He changes people's faces.
But I've seen that face before. Abby, you remember when we went to the movies with a little boy and I was so frightened? Yes, it was that face.
now easy, Johnny, easy. Ladies, don't worry. In the last 5 years, I have given Johnny 3 new faces. I will give him a new one right away. Oh, in this last face, well, I saw the same picture too, right before I operated, and I was a little intoxicated.
You see, Doctor, you see what you've done to me, even my own family.
Now, Johnny, take it easy. You are home, in this beautiful house. How often he would tell me about Brooklyn, about this house, about his aunts, that he loves so much. Johnny, and say, no, it is you. Ladies, you know it is Jonathan. Tell him so. Speak to him, please.
Jonathan, it's been a long time. What have you been doing all these years?
Yes, Jonathan, where have you been?
Oh, England, South Africa. The last 5 years, Chicago. Dr. Einstein and I were in business together.
Oh, we were in Chicago for the World's Fair.
You had Chicago awfully warm.
Ah, it got kind of hot for us too, didn't it, Johnny?
Well, it's good to be in Brooklyn again. And you, Abby, Martha, you don't look a day older. Just as I remembered. Sweet, charming, hospitable. And dear Teddy, did he ever get into politics?
Oh,
My little brother, Doctor, was determined to become president.
Teddy's fine. Just fine. And Mortimer's well, too.
I know all about Mortimer. I've seen his picture at the head of his column. He's evidently fulfilled all the promise of his early nasty nature.
I'm very fond of Mortimer.
Well, Jonathan, it was very nice to see you again.
Bless you, Aunt Martha. It's good to be home again.
Well, Martha, we mustn't let what's on the stove boil over.
No, if you'll excuse us for a minute, Jonathan. Of course, unless you're in a hurry to go somewhere.
Well, Johnny, what are we going to do now? We have to think quickly. The police, they have pictures of this face. Oh, I have to operate on you right away. We will have to find a place for that. And we will have to find a place for Mr. Spinalzo.
Don't waste any worry on that rat.
But Johnny, we have a hot stick on our hands.
Forget Mr. Spinalzo.
Johnny, you can't leave a dead body in the rumble seat of the car. You shouldn't have killed him. He was a nice fellow. He gives us a lift in the car. And then what happened?
He said I look like Boris Karloff. That's your work, Doctor. You did this to me.
Now, easy, Johnny, easy. We will find a place for that somewhere.
Tonight.
But, Johnny, I'm tired. I'm hungry. I'm weak.
Jonathan, we are glad that you remembered us and took the trouble to come by and say hello. But you were never happy in this house, and you were never happy while you were in it. So we just come in to say goodbye.
Aunt Abby, I can't say that your feeling towards me comes as a surprise. I've spent a great many hours regretting the many heartaches I must have given you as a boy.
Well, you were funny to us.
But my great disappointment is for Dr. Einstein. I promised him that no matter how rushed we were in passing through Brooklyn, I'd bring him here for one of Aunt Martha's home-cooked dinners.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm afraid that wouldn't be enough. But it's a pretty good-sized pot roast, Abby.
Pot roast!
I think the least we can do.
Thank you, Aunt Martha. We'll stay to dinner.
Well, I'll hurry things along. Yes. Oh, Jonathan, if you want to freshen up, why don't you use the washroom in Grandfather's old laboratory?
Is that still there?
Yes, just as he left it. Well, I'll help Martha get things started, since we're all in a hurry.
Well, at least we are getting a meal out of this anyway.
Grandfather's laboratory. And just as he left it, Doctor, a perfect operating room.
Too bad we can't use it, though.
And after you're finished with me, why, we can make a fortune here. The laboratory, that large ward in the attic, 10 beds, Doctor. And Brooklyn is crying for your talents.
Why are you working yourself up, Johnny? Besides, for Brooklyn, I think we are about a year too late.
You don't know this town, Doctor. Practically everybody in Brooklyn needs a new face.
But Johnny, so many of your faces are already locked up.
A very small percentage. The boys in Brooklyn are famous for paying generously to stay out of jail.
Johnny, now take it easy. Your aunts, they do not want us here.
We're here for dinner, aren't we?
Yeah, but after that...
I'll handle it, Doctor. Why, this house will be our headquarters for years.
Ah, that would be beautiful. This nice, quiet house. Those aunts of yours, what sweet ladies they are. I love them already. I will go get the bags now, yeah?
Doctor, we must wait until we're invited.
But you just said that...
We'll be invited.
And if we're not...
Doctor, two helpless old women.
This is like a dream come true. Only I hope they're not dreaming. It is so peaceful here.
That's what makes this house so perfect